Welcome to this week's episode of Where That Baby's Kodak, entitled Can We Talk About Forever, where we'll go on the journey exploring topics that the Black community will benefit from. Today's topic will cover Black love that feels so sacred and safe, that is given a 90s type of love. I'm talking that love that we saw on Love Jones, Poetic Justice, and The Best Man. I'll be joined by special guests on each episode, and these special guests have experience in the topics that they are discussing. So I will simply be your guide while they lead us in conversation. These guided conversations will be your metaphorical coat as we navigate this cold life. So think of these guided conversations as my attempt of keeping you all warm. Today's special guests will share their own story and tips to help us find our person. I know them as Pastor and First Lady, but they are Zai and Jada. Zai and Jada are both disobedient and did not give me their bios. So we're gonna let them introduce themselves today. So welcome to Zai and Jada. How are y'all?
Hello.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Of course. So let's jump right in. So last episode, we talked about traveling as an educational experience. And with traveling, we can learn about more than just the culture or the place we're going to. But before we get into learning our partners, how about you both share us your journey of how you found each other and you're forever?
Okay, so the way that me and Zach met was when I was in college. It was my sophomore year, and I had met my best friend Vana at the time. Well, no, my best friend Vana, and it was her brother Zaire, and she was like, "You guys would make such a good couple," because she saw my personality and she saw what I was going through at that time, and she said that Zaire would be a good light for me because she also knew what Zaire was going through, and she thought so. She just kind of brought us together, and I was very hesitant at first because I'm more reserved. But I was like, "Oh, I don't know." So I was like, "Okay, let me give it a try." And then Zai was very persistent, and I think that was one of the things that I liked more about him, that he was very active. He would leave flowers on my doorstep. He made me an Easter basket. He would do all these things that I was like asking other people to do, but he was so willing to do it. So I think that's what made it. That's what showed me who he was, and that's what drew me to him first.
Beautiful.
Wasn't Easter.
Okay.
But it's kind of the same story. When I met Jada, it was through our mutual friend, which was my sister, Vana. So Vana was telling me about Jada and telling me how she was this sweet little shy little girl, never really did much, and she thought she would be a great fit for me. And so one day I was on the phone talking to Vana, and I heard this sweet little voice in the background. I was like, "Oh, he's cute. And I was just like, "Oh, who's that?" And she's like, "That was Jada." And I was like, "Okay, but what she looked like?" And she sent me this little video. It wasn't like no video of like no Snapchat filter video. It's her on her little phone with her glasses on. And I was like, "Oh, she's really cute." She like really reserved, kept to herself. And so I started to pursue her, and then things just kept going, and then we ended up dating for 5 years, and now we've been married for 2 months.
I said, wait a minute, I remember that wedding now. It wasn't that long. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, guys. All right, so at what point did you know that was your person?
I knew Jada was my person probably like 6 months into meeting her. And people be like, well, that's kind of crazy. But when you know what you want in life and what you want in a person, and you actually find that person, it doesn't take a lifetime for you to realize who that person is. It should take some time, but not a lifetime. Like, you should know every quality that you ever thought you wanted in a person. They should be able to show you those things within a few months. And so with Jada, it wasn't really that hard to see that in her. She was always loving. She was always caring. She still is all those things. And so I really just love who she is and what she does for me and what she does for herself. So that's what it was for me. So, yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I would say I knew when I realized how comfortable I was around Zai. Like you said, like I'm shy. So for me to be comfortable around him, let down my walls, that takes a lot for me, but it was so natural. So I think that's when I kind of knew like he was the one for me.
Oh, beautiful. And you guys, how you talked about it took you 6 months. It didn't take long. And they say, when a man know, a man knows. So it don't take 2 years being together for you to know what it might take 2 years by that ring, but it won't take. All right, so moving on. Now I want to shift gears and talk about first dates. So when two people decide to go on a first date, what should one realistically plan for? I want to know from the man's perspective, and then also from the woman's perspective.
I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay. I would recommend in planning for just to be open-minded. I feel like if we go into a first date just being very closed-minded and like if this person doesn't meet this kind of expectation, it's just not going to go well from there. So just being open-minded, willing to enjoy new experiences, and just wanting to get to know that person. I feel like that's something that you can prepare yourself well for the first date. That's good.
When I'm planning our first date, the first thing that I always thought about was don't be like everybody else's first date, because everybody else's first date is different. Some people are extravagant. They go to these 5-star restaurants because they want to prove that they got money or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can show somebody your true, like, soft side, and yes, men, you have a soft side, just show them your intimate side, it'll help you fall in love a whole lot different and in a better way. So, like, I know that planning our first date was amazing for me because it was really intimate, and I would do it all over again. If I did it every day, I'll enjoy it because it was great.
What was your first date?
It was a picnic.
It was during COVID times. We got real creative.
Yeah. We couldn't go nowhere. Like, COVID came and it was like, we can't go to restaurants. We can't go to nowhere to play games or do anything like that. Yeah. So we had a picnic at Berry Park, and I just remember all the snacks and stuff that she liked, all the food she liked. Then I went to Wegmans, and you can't go wrong with Wegmans cake. Right. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care where you live at. You better find a Wegmans, get you a Wegmans cake. But we just had subs, we had chips, drinks, snack. It was just a great day. It was nice outside. It wasn't too hot. Had us a nice little blanket. So it was a real sweet, intimate moment. And when I did that for her, I knew that, again, she was the right one for me because she was really happy with what I did for her. And she was just her. And I love it.
Oh, perfect. For all y'all big backers out there, Wegmans, I guess that's some Wegmans for us down south is Publix, okay? Yeah. Publix got some good cake, I tell you, boy. Yeah. Okay, perfect. And that also just goes to show, you can get creative. COVID was a time, but he was able to get creative with first dates and COVID, so definitely get creative. All right, so now can you talk to us about the importance of dating, and at which point should one consider making things more exclusive with the person that they're dating?
Okay. I feel like dating is important because it not only allows you to get to know all kinds of different people, but it also allows you to get to know yourself a little bit more, things that you might not have known, like what you like and what you don't like. You get to see new experiences when you're dating. And I would say knowing when to make it like official, I guess, or more serious. It's just when you're comfortable. It's going to be different with different people, different couples. So it's just a matter of getting to know yourself and knowing that comfort level that you have. So that's what I'd say.
I would say the importance of dating is because if you rush into things too fast, you will mess something up. It's just like life. You just can't rush into something and expect it to just all be put together without taking the necessary steps. So when you go into dating, make sure you go into dating with the right mindset that it's not just about you. It's about you and another person. And you want to make sure that you're pleasing that other person, but also keeping yourself pleased as well. Making sure everything that you feel like makes you comfortable. And they understand that there's like boundaries, or if there's things that you will do, you won't do. Because some people just go on a date and just doing whatever they want to do, and then they realize, I don't like you no more because you did this. And instead of just taking our time and getting to it, it's just something that you really want to do. Is dating is a good thing to do. Date if you need to date. Just date.
All right, perfect. You see me, motherfucker. Okay. Oh, glory. Oh, geez. All right, thank you guys both so much. So now I want to get your take on the difference between courting and dating.
I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. I never knew there was a difference. Never knew there was a difference. We just had this conversation yesterday with my mom, and she was like, "There's a difference." I'm like, "It all sounds the same to me," but I guess dating is you can date multiple people, but courting is when you have your mind focused on one person. That's who you want to be with. That's who you want to pursue. And I just never knew that. So this whole time I was dating Jada, but I could have been dating like other women, but I wasn't gonna do that because I just not. That's too much work. Who's gonna talk to that?
Yeah.
I can't go on the schedule now. But yeah, I didn't know the difference until yesterday because all I knew was dating. Courting, I thought courting was just a older word for dating that was used back in like our grandparents' days and stuff. Like, oh, we was courting. Who says courting? That's like having a land.
Yeah, my grandma still got a landline.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like that's what I would think when I heard court.
Yeah.
Like the judge? No. So we just learned about dating and courting lessons.
All right.
Just add on to that. I would just say that I feel like courting is dating with intention to marry. Like that's the switch over. That's the difference between the two. So I don't know when that point was for us. Maybe when we got engaged. But even before that, I feel like
I was ready to get married. I was ready to get married after 1 year with her because she was everything I needed to be. So the courting was over after 1 year. We started after 1 year. So.
Yeah. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So now, at which point should you start to kind of have some of those deep conversations with your person that you're dating to see if you both are equally yoked and on the same page, like when it comes to kids or different values and stuff like that that you look for in relationships?
I would say when you're dating, you can ask those questions whenever you both feel comfortable to. Like a lot of people ask in the beginning of the dating stage because they don't want to pursue somebody who doesn't have the same type of values as them, or their values are a little bit too much for the other person. So they might ask those questions early on because they're just like, okay, I don't want to pursue this with you, and I don't want to like break your heart later on down the line. Like, I actually don't want to have 4 or 5 kids. I want to have just one, but we're not going to be seeing eye to eye because of that situation. So it's better to cut that off in the beginning instead of waiting later on down the line. Like, okay, so how many kids you want to have? Oh, we've been dating for like daggone 3 years. So why you just not asking me this question? So like, I know when we started dating, we always played like Never Have I Ever or played games over the phone because we started dating during COVID again. So over the phone, we did all these question games and getting to know each other. I think we asked that like question about kids and stuff and marriage. I think we asked that when we first started dating. So, and we made it here. So we obviously was on the same page. But that's what I would say is start whenever you guys both feel like start having those conversations.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, actually. I was going to say as soon as you guys are comfortable enough or you're to that point to have those deep conversations. And it's okay to also have uncomfortable conversations, too. Mm-hmm. So, and I know it's easy to shy away from that, but it's important to get to know that person that you're with. So, see if there's a future to pursue. Yeah, I would say as soon as you're ready to have those conversations, the better.
All right, perfect. Thank you both so much. So now I want to get your guys' take on what does it mean to you to be equally yoked?
Well, I know the biblical
yeah.
because of what I do. Mm-hmm. But to be equally yoked is to be one, to be connected, like just to be on the same page. You can't be one person here and the other person down here because it's never going to match because the person that's up here is always going to be up here. And then when they try to come down here, they feel like they're not themselves. They're not who they want to be. And then this person tries to come up here and it's like, it's not going to work out. But if you at least get to some common ground of where you guys can meet in the middle and having that evenly yoked moment, that's where you're evenly yoked. Coming together, understanding one another's values, understanding one another's boundaries, understanding one another's purpose in the relationship, that's where that equal yoke comes from.
I would honestly say the same thing. Yeah, that was a great answer.
All right, perfect. All right, guys. So my next question is, I want to know, what does it look like for when you're dating somebody and they don't meet your non-negotiables, and then versus that to when they don't meet your preferences. So how do you like move forward? What does that look like?
Okay. I would say when someone doesn't meet your non-negotiables, it is okay. Ooh, I don't know how to say this. I would be like, it's okay to. I don't know how to word this one. This is tricky. I want to say.
What's the negotiables mean?
Like things that, like, if they don't do this, like, it's no deal.
Yeah.
I would say if somebody who doesn't meet your non-negotiable, well, first of all, I would say don't go into a relationship with non-negotiables, because one moment you'll say you won't allow somebody to do this, that, and third, but once you get comfortable with that person, you're like, okay, actually, we'll let them do this, that, and third, or actually like when they do this and they do that. But like certain things that I know was like I knew from off the jump a non-negotiable was I did not want to date a woman who smoked. I just thought it was very distasteful of a young lady to just even be standing somewhere smoking anything. It made her look like it wasn't her. It made her lose her value of who she was. You know, you don't really lose your value for what you do, but that's what it seemed like in my eyes. So I was just kind of like, oh God, I don't want a lady that smokes. I don't want. You should do anything. Don't let her smoke. Just let her smoke. That was a non-negotiable because I was not about to deal with the smoking situation. I couldn't do it. I don't do it because it's just like I don't see the point of it, because like it is what it is. But that was a non-negotiable. Thank God I didn't have to deal with that situation. So I don't know how I would say I would have handled it. But I probably would have said like, hey, you smoke. I don't think I really want to pursue this. But yeah, non-negotiable things, it's kind of hard to deal with. Some people will actually go through a relationship with the non-negotiables and they just live with it for the rest of their lives, and then they realize that they're closer to end and they're like, I can't do this no more. Like, it's better to just knock it out the park in the beginning. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to see you do that. I want to see us do this. So that's what I would say about non-negotiables. Non-negotiables.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, so I would say there's nothing wrong with having non-negotiables or standards for yourself. And going into a relationship with that, that's okay. But I would say, kind of like what Zach said, you have to understand that you might have to reevaluate those non-negotiables or those standards. Like, as the relationship goes on, that person might change, and you might make exceptions for certain things, so it might not be a non-negotiable anymore. But it is perfectly okay to have those. That's what I have to say. I feel like I have something else to say, but it's okay.
I'm even talking about preferences, right? Okay. So I had some preferences when I prayed about.
Sharing with the class.
Yeah. So when I came out of my last relationship, I knew I had to take time for myself because it wasn't what I wanted it to be in the last one. So I had to pray about what I really wanted. I told God what I really wanted. And I was like, God, like, I want a woman who doesn't mind goes to church not all the time, but yeah, all the time. All the time. Who it's not everything. Doesn't mind dating somebody who's a minister, loves me for who I am, for what I do, because I'm loud and goofy. I'm still a little bit childish, I just like to be chill, and I'm not that serious about certain situations. And I said, Lord, just let her know Lord, let her know how to cook, let her know how to do something. And, I got everything but the cooking part. But well, she can cook now. She's been learning how to cook, so she's getting that. So the Lord still answered my prayer. So it's happening. It's just that some preferences you're not gonna get in a person, and the preference is just a preference. That means you can really just say hey or nay with those kind of things. But like, yeah, like I said, not all of them you're gonna get. You might ask God for a woman with long hair, and she just got short hair, but she still is beautiful and she still is loving. So, yeah, so that's how I feel about preferences. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, now I want to move on to the next part. So let's say you do find your person, and you're ready, you can propose and everything, and y'all ready to walk down the aisle. But what are some steps that you should take as individuals and as couples before you make the I do statement, before y'all get to marriage, to prepare for it?
First of all, you have to think about all the things that marriage brings on, and you should do that separately first. So write down everything that your knowledge of marriage, and she writes down everything she knows of her knowledge of marriage. Y'all come back to the table and see what you guys both said. Like, because some people are brought up different. Like, some men are taught that women are supposed to cook, clean, and take care of the children while the man goes to work, get the money, come home, pay the bills, and he sleep all day. He don't really got to do nothing in the house. But like for me, in instance, I don't believe that. I believe that marriage is what is like 50-50, give and take. Like it doesn't matter what she does for me, she does for me. But I also do for her because she does for me. And that's what marriage is about. It's not about who's better than the other or what can the other one do better than the other. It's just being together as one, but also knowing what you guys both wanted in that marriage. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Because if you say I do, and then you realize that once you moved in together, you couldn't be with somebody who got a whole bunch of clothes, a whole bunch of shoes, and they brought all this stuff into your house, then you're going to be like, oh, no, 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 no. Like, you got to be ready for all of these things that's going to happen. Life is going to change overnight. And I mean immediately. Because me, I'm a person about my space. I love my space. I love how I keep my space and everything like that. And I knew that when Jada was moving in, I said, okay, my wife has a lot of clothes. My wife has a lot of shoes. I got to get ready to adapt to this type of situation. And it's like, I have a lot of clothes and shoes, but I have places for my clothes and shoes. I don't have nowhere for her clothes and shoes. So it's like, where should we put her clothes and shoes? But as she moved in, she took over a whole room, but, it is what it is. She's comfortable. She's here, and I'm comfortable with her being here. And, like, you just got to be ready for everything that's going to happen, because things are going to happen every day. One, you might be mad at the other one, but life is life. You got to keep moving. You got to push past the trying times. You got to work through them. Don't just throw them to the side, sweep under the carpet. Work through them and make sure you do not go to bed angry at each other. Because if you have a wife like mine, she's gonna bother you until you say something before one of y'all go to sleep. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yes. Yep. I would say to just prepare for that next step, that is marriage. I would say definitely being on the same page is key. Communication is going to be a very big part of that. Learning each other's communication styles is something that we got to learn ourselves. I feel like that's very important. I feel like it's also helpful to also take advice from other married people, other seasoned couples. Just learning from their experiences. And I would also give this advice that we got millions of times over. Keep people out of your business. That is so important. Because I know it's so easy to go over here like, oh, you did this, that, and the other. But this person doesn't understand the situation. And also, they might not forgive the way that you forgive. So they're over here still holding a grudge that you guys have already worked past. So that's not going to be very beneficial for your marriage. So it's hard to say.
Amen. You know what? And that's so funny because I was just talking to Dewan, and I shared with him. I did not share with him. I shared with some other friends though. I gotta share with him. But as I was reading the Bible during my doing a study, and something that kind of God revealed to me about marriage. That's something He takes very seriously. First of all, when He created the heavens and the earth, one of the first institutions that He created was, first of all, governance. He told the men to have dominion over the earth. But then immediately after that, it was marriage, because He created Eve for Adam, and He created them to be together and stuff like that. And so it just revealed, just how important marriage is, because God says it's not good for man to be alone and stuff like that. And there's so much scripture around marriage about he who finds a wife finds a good thing, and there's just so much around just how important marriage is to God, because you're literally God's child and you're now connected with another one of God's child. You now have God's child's heart in your hands and stuff like that. And if you break his child heart, God is a possessive parent, and stuff like that. And so you have to really be careful about, with marriage. And so when y'all say, keep people out your business, because you have a relationship with this person, and nobody else is going to understand that relationship besides God, stuff like that. That's why you run to God instead of running the other man, because God knows how to handle that heart of that person that, your sister or brother don't know how to handle, and stuff like that. Anyways, y'all, I'm done preaching, but it's just a little revelation I had. I just thought I'd share. All right. So now, what tips would you give to those people that are preparing to enter into covenant with one another?
Yep, just to think back off the last one, I would say communication, being on the same page. I would say trying to understand that person.
One, I would say that when you're getting ready to join in covenant with one another, pray. Pray.
Amen.
All the time. Pray over your marriage. Pray for your future. Pray for whatever you need to pray for. Pray together. Pray. That is the main thing that will get you through. I know my grandparents that tell me there's been times when I wanted to fight your granddad, but all I had to do was pray. Yeah, just pray.
Yeah.
Pray and God will work it out. It might take some time. You might feel like you had wits in with the person, but then you'll remember that day that you proposed, or remember that day that you seen her walk down the aisle in that dress. God will always bring back to your remembrance why he put you two together. And that will always jumpstart the feeling all over again. Because your marriage should never lose its spark. Because every day you should fall in love with that person again. Because every day we should be stripping and pruning ourselves from our fleshly bodies, and we should become a new person every single day. And we should be trying our best to be more and more like Christ. So if I'm trying my best to be more and more like Christ, and she's trying her best to be more and more like Christ, that means we're starting to see a different side of each other every day. We're starting to see a new pruning process through each other every day. It's just like a gardener. A gardener goes out to the garden and tends to the garden as much as possible to make sure that all of the fruit and all of the vegetables, all those nourishments are growing in the right way. If I'm pruning and you're pruning and we're checking in on each other and making sure that we're both growing, the better we grow together, the better it will be. So, yeah.
If y'all can tell he's a pastor, you could tell because he gave a story. One thing a pastor gonna do, is give a story. All right, so now I want to talk about when there is tension in the relationship, because there will be tension. What advice would you give the couple? And then also, what about temptation, when there's temptation that arises? And I know it kind of, like going back to what you said about, don't go be angry at each other. So kind of like loop it all together.
When it's tension, I know that before I was like a hothead. I could go off in a second if somebody made me mad, but I learned to first calm down, listen, and then I walk away for a moment. I don't walk away the whole time. Walk away for a moment. Then I come back and say, okay, let's talk about this situation, because now my mind is level. Because when you tell me something right off the rip, my mind go like, why are you telling me this right now? So I'll just be like, okay, calm down, just listen, just talk. We can get through this. We're gonna be all right. So that's what I would say. Just take a moment to just breathe. Don't always react when somebody or when your other half tells you something that you might not want to hear or don't want to hear. So just always just take a moment and be like, okay, calm down. Let's go see what we got to talk about. Let's see what we can get through, what we need to do, where we need to go, who we need to talk to. Because sometimes you might just got to go to counseling, and there's nothing wrong with counseling. There's nothing wrong with therapy. Just because you go to therapy don't mean that you're crazy or anything like that. It means you're trying to fix something, or you want something to be fixed before it gets worse. So that's what I would say.
Yep, I would agree with that. I would say there's nothing wrong with taking your space, have each other's space. Let's see, and just taking a step back from it and just allowing yourself to see like the other side of the situation. I'm big on that. I always try to see like, okay, why did he think that? Or why did he do that? And then usually that will help me come back around into like, okay, yeah, no, maybe I was wrong. Let me just, apologize. We'll usually come back together at that point. And as far as the temptation part of the question goes, I feel like it's big on just keeping God at the center of your relationship or your marriage and just realizing that temptation is the devil and that, he's trying to lead you astray. So you just got to check back in like, no, that's not right. And, yeah.
Ditto.
All right. So is there anything else that you would like to share with the listeners?
I would say when it comes to time to actually get like married, like you're planning and everything, do it together. Don't do it separately. Don't do it like here, there. Do it together, check in with each other and say, oh, we got this done, we got that done, we got this done, we got that done. That's one thing that we did. We checked in with each other all the time. Did your groomsmen get this? Yeah. Oh, babe, did your bridesmaids do this? Yeah, but this one didn't do this one, and this one didn't do that. We had a very big wedding, and we had a lot of people. We had a big wedding party of about, was it 37 people in the wedding? It was a lot, but at the end of the day, again, I would do it all over again because it was an awesome day. It was an awesome night. And so, yeah, just do it together and do what you want to do. Do what you guys want to do, not what mom wants to do, dad, sister, brothers, cousins. No, they ain't getting married. And they can't put no say so into a day that's about you two. So, yeah, that's what I would say. See?
A little something. I was just gonna say that marriage is such a beautiful thing, and it's honestly a blessing to be married. I just feel like it's so important to just realize it's just you two now. Like before that, it was like you and your family. Like I was big on like, oh, it's me and my family, but no, it's me and Zai now. So, in understanding that is very, very important. So.
All right. Thank y'all. So now that we have the roadmap to forever, take all these gems as you search for your person and stay tuned for the next episode where we talk about the burden of leadership. More importantly, the burden when it involves God's people. Let's get warm. What a Baby's Kodak is hosted by Aldrich K. It is recorded, edited, and produced by Aldrich K. LLC. Thank y'all, and thank y'all.